Hello and welcome back to our first episode of Living Life Through the Lens of
Pain and endometriosis.
Straight in there, eh?
Yeah.
Heavy subject, douche.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get your fucking tissues out. No, I'm joking. Right, sorry.
So as we said in our intro, we want to keep it real and relevant to things that we've been through and still going through, really, eh?
Yeah. So there's loads to this, but I think the main thing is the fact that spirituality has helped us massively deal with pain. There's loads to get into. There's so many things, but we're just going to go through like things that have helped us, what we've tried, how we got here, you know,
and the impact really it's had on life.
Yeah.
You know.
So, well, we go with you first.
Okay, I'm happy to do that.
Makes more sense, I think. So, Lisa is the guru of everything, I feel. You are, like, you know so much, so it makes sense. So where did your pain start? When did that kind of happen for you?
Well, pain-wise, I always had really, and it's quite interesting as we get into this subject because I'm obviously a lot older than Rachel. I'm 54 this year, and we both suffer from endometriosis. So my journey is slightly different to Rachel's.
Do you want me to just explain what endometriosis is then?
That is a very good idea,
I'm just thinking, because you can Google it, you'll hear loads of things. It's a bad period. It's not. It is, but that's not what it is. So to keep it kind of brief and not too, in detail, basically when you have your period, all the lining would naturally shed out and come away with your period. When you've got endometriosis, that doesn't happen. Pieces of the lining can go into different parts of the body. They can stick to different organs, stick organs together, and ultimately what happens, they bleed internally and it can't get anywhere. So yeah, that causes horrific pain. It causes bladder issues, bowel issues, bad periods, heavy bleeding, but there's also light bleeding can be a problem as well. It's basically just, I describe it like there's a demon inside you, and it's not just at your period. It can happen when you're ovulating. I feel like you really get maybe like 5 to 7 days of the month where
100%
you feel good. So really that's probably the easiest way. It's a lot more complex than that. I don't want to sort of play it down, but that's the easiest way. It's basically when the lining doesn't come away, and it can cause loads of other problems. Basically we both have that. So what age were you when you found out?
So mine started when I had really bad periods as a teenager, and my mum had bad periods as well, so it was just put down to that. And then as I got older, I was probably about 18, they decided to put me on the pill. Pill didn't agree with me. I came pretty much off that within 6 months. And then probably when I was about 21, it kicked off really, really badly.
You hear that? Some very similar. It's always early teens. And then by 20s, it's obviously because it's been left for so long.
So I went to Turkey and lived in Turkey, got married out there, and it probably started to really rear its head there, and I had to come home a couple of times, and I got a laparoscopy when I was about 22, and that's when they diagnosed me with endometriosis. And really my journey went on from there. I was actually quite lucky. I went on and had 2 children, which was amazing, and they said it was a miracle that happened. But then my journey got worse after the children. I never had a life. I was trying to run a business.
Because this is another thing. Doctors have this thing of just have children, it'll fix it.
Oh God,
It doesn't at all. Some people's symptoms are obviously less when they're pregnant because everything's suppressed, but it's not the advice to give anyone to.
I must admit though, when I was pregnant, I didn't have the pain.
That's so you got like a bit of a break.
I didn't. I mean, I had other issues, but I didn't have that pain. But after it, after Jasmine, so I was well in my 30s then. That's when it got chronic. Like, as you said at the beginning there, I maybe got about 5 to 7 days out the month where I could live.
You're like, oh, I feel better.
Yeah.
And then you know that's not going to last.
No.
You just know it's...
And then, you know, it was just terrible, which eventually, for me, it ended in a hysterectomy. I'd had my children, didn't want any more. And I'll be honest, I just thought, this isn't a quality of life. Like, I felt disassociated from my family, my life, who I was, just everything. I was just existing.
Yeah.
Had my hysterectomy, and when they opened me up, they said mine was on the brink of being cancerous. My bowel and my bladder and my womb and my ovaries, they were all congealed together.
Yeah.
So they separated the bowel, and they said I nearly lost my bowel.
I follow a girl on Instagram who has lost bowel, bladder, I think there's other organs, like it's horrific. She's had sepsis so many times.
Oh my God.
It's awful. She really advocates for it though. She's been on the telly and stuff. Her page is great. But so similar.
I just feel so grateful that they managed to separate everything. And I still have a few bowel issues.
That's another thing, people don't realise it's not just, again, I hate saying the word just, but it's not just period related. It's actually sometimes that's the least worrying bit, because you know your period's happening, that's it. It's when you're out and about.
Yeah.
Like I had to get I don't know if you've got one or ever had one, but you know
they
never had them. So the cards, because people see you going into a bathroom and they just think, well, what's wrong with you? Like, you're young, there's nothing wrong with you.
Yeah, the bowel issue for me was really bad. Yeah.
Did you get misdiagnosed before or anything? Or
I got diagnosed with like the usual IBS and all that,
intolerance,
which really it was that, you know. So I still have those issues today,
I think
but they're much better.
Yeah, I think they kind of come with it. I don't really know anyone with endometriosis that doesn't have sort of bowel issues, I feel like, or bladder or...
Yeah, well, the bladder's still an issue for me, but I think a lot of that can be combined with having a hysterectomy because, you know, all these organs support and hold each other up, you know, so I do have a little bit of an issue with that. But today, you know, I'm fine. I am living life, you know, which we'll get into some of the things that have helped me. But what's your story in that?
So I was probably about 14 when my periods, well, I hadn't quite started my period, but things were like a bit off. I think I started my period actually at 15. I was a bit later. Always off school, always in pain, a lot of issues, but the main thing for me, I had quite light periods a lot of the time, which at the time I didn't know is actually another symptom anyway, because there's just nothing's coming away at all. So whereas the other ones, heavy bleeding can be another one. So
that's where I was.
My main thing was the back pain. I was off school every month without fail, to the extent I think I actually got letters about it and stuff. But so that was the main thing. And then when I got to about 19, 20, just before my 21st birthday, that's when things got horrific. Like, that's one of the most traumatising times in my life when I think back, how you actually think you're dying in that moment. Mine was mostly like bowel issues. I'd get bad pains in my stomach. I've took seizures because of the pain twice. Like, being sick at the same time as having bowel issues, fainting at the same time. Like, my mum and my brothers had to like cover me with towels and like just be there. Like, my mum's had to hold me, and like that's the times you're just so glad to have someone there. I couldn't imagine living on your own and going through something like that. So a lot of that was going on. A&E visits, doctor's visits. I got told
getting sent home.
IBS, wheat intolerance. I even had a colonoscopy because they thought maybe I had Crohn's. They would not listen when I was saying, I think this is period related, but I'm getting bowel symptoms. They were so focused on it being a bowel issue that they weren't really listening to the rest.
Because I think you got diagnosed when you were working with me, and I says to you, I think you've got endometriosis.
I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know anyone that had it. And then I remember, just because I had quite a lot of time off work, I was obviously in work, and then I need to go home. I'd lost a couple of clients with that. I remember like folk getting fed up and me cancelling, and then so that started at like 15. I got diagnosed 10 years later. I was 25 when I got diagnosed, and I remember getting told what it was. I was like, oh my god, I just felt validated having a diagnosis, to be honest. Because at one point you think you're going crazy.
Yeah.
I've had doctors tell me it's all in my head, sent me home, like passing blood, like how you should not be, like no one should be going through that. That's normal. I'm like, that's not normal.
Yeah, exactly.
So a lot of that, and then I think before I got diagnosed, it was actually a male doctor. I kind of suggested it, and it was like a light bulb went off for him. He was like, I actually think that could be it. So got referred, then obviously got the surgery, and then got diagnosed, and then I went on the pill. So I'm actually on that now, progesterone only. I actually done the injections. That was the best and the worst thing I ever done, because I put on so much weight. Weight is something that I struggle with still, because of all the hormones. So basically a normal kind of healthy woman, if you like, their estrogen levels are, you know, kind of decent. If you've got too much estrogen, it helps the endometriosis grow. So mine has to be suppressed.
Yeah. And
one of the side effects of suppressing that, obviously because these things happen to menopausal women, is weight gain.
Yeah.
So for me,
that's me.
Great. So I was very thin when I was younger. It's took me a long time to accept.
Yeah.
I do so much.
It's not just the disease, is it? It's all the things that come with it.
Yeah. I've had people that, I'd rather be thinner, and I was like, no. The pain I was in, I've obviously the chronic pain, we're going to get into that, but I've got more quality of life with the extra weight than I did without.
Yeah.
And it's just finding your confidence in your body again and accepting this is who you are. People that want to love you well, you know, because I've had a lot of insecurities because of it. So yeah, the pill I'm on now is progesterone only, but that has massively helped me.
Right.
I don't get,
so that's helping.
I don't get periods at all now.
Right.
I still get a lot of issues like bowel stuff and pains. Like obviously this morning I was saying that when I came in here I was a bit sore. I've got a wee hot water bottle down there. So yeah, I think that's the main. There's loads. You could go on and on though. It's such a long journey. I feel like it's not easy to put into a quick.
It isn't. It really isn't. And you know, like the pain is.
It's one of the most painful. Top 20 in the world, I think.
Oh God, it just affects everywhere. Just like when you were saying, like collapsing and stuff like that. I've had many issues just fainting with the pain. I mean, remember that time in the salon when
I just looked down the stairs and you were just lying on the floor. I was like, what on earth?
Yeah, and you put on the wee...
Yeah, and your heart rate was like nearly 200. It was like going crazy.
And then I remember just being out there, my body shaking, and the ambulance coming, and I remember getting put in the ambulance, and he said to me, we've pumped you with... we can't give you any more morphine, and it still didn't
feel like morphine doesn't quite hit as well, does it?
Did not hit. No. And I got to that hospital and I just got sent home. I got sent home.
Yep.
And this is the slight, well, there's not really, because I know you and I know your journey, but you know, I'm 54 and my journey with endometriosis was long and hard because back then it was just put down to bad periods. It was
it's come a long way.
It's
still not where it should be.
Not that amazing, to be honest. I mean,
I think it's more spoken about. It's like I need to spin around a bit. My neck's getting a bit sore.
You right, okay, yeah. You
talking about chronic pain, and we're like, oh.
You have a bit more knowledge about it because there's more knowledge out on it now.
Yeah.
When I was going through it, you know, it was mostly spoke about in the hospital and the doctors as bad periods. So every time I went to A&E, it was like usually a
You're
male
here
doctor.
For your period, like what?
Yeah, a male doctor, and he just said it's just bad periods, and that's basically what women put through.
And periods should not be painful. That's the thing. I think people don't like. A little bit of cramping, or you should still be able to go about your day-to-day life.
Absolutely.
That's what people don't get.
But then that is a product of how we live as well.
Yeah, don't get me started on the whole women's rights stuff.
That is how we
but
we don't live the way we should live. You know, like we live in a world where, oh, anyway, that's another subject.
Yeah, we'll start ranting, just ignore us, never mind.
But I'm thinking about when I was very lucky before, I mean, when a woman gets a hysterectomy, they get slapped straight on, you know, like hormone
HRT
replacements.
and stuff. Did you do any of that?
No. And the reason I had a really good chiropractor at the time, and she was really well versed in hormones. She had a bit of a background in Chinese medicine and stuff. And she's no longer, she's moved back to Australia, but she was an amazing chiropractor. And she said to me before I went in, she went, when you've had your hysterectomy, your consultant will come round the next again day with a prescription to put you on HRT, and you say no. And I was like, this is how like unwell versed I was on this situation. And she explained to me, if you go on like estrogen tablets, you are feeding the endometriosis. And at that time, like when I found out after my hysterectomy, he said to me, you've still got it on your bowel and
some
your
of it
bladder.
can't be removed.
Exactly.
I've still got it on my bladder. It's too dangerous to remove it because it can perforate.
Exactly. So she said if I took it, I'd be feeding it and it would grow.
You can't win.
And I would have took it because I wasn't. So I can remember this so vividly. The consultant came round with his 2 trainees, or whatever you want to call it, trainee doctors, and he said about the HRT, and I said, no, I don't want it.
Yeah.
And he was shocked.
Yeah.
He was like, why? So I explained what I'd been told, and he laughed at me. He laughed at me. He went away, and then he came back the next day when I was being discharged, well, a couple of days later or whatever, and he said to his 2 consultants, oh, this is the hippie client that doesn't, hippie, not client, patient, that doesn't want HRT. And he made me feel like absolute shit.
It's so difficult with doctors, eh? Like, I think...
Awful!
I can only think of, like, maybe 1 or 2 that have been okay or decent.
Yeah.
Most of the experience with doctors has been pretty negative. Nurses different.
Absolutely.
Totally different.
Yeah.
I remember before my second surgery for endometriosis that, you know, when they come round with the form and like you have to fill it out and blah blah blah, it wasn't a nurse, it wasn't the surgeon, it was someone kind of in between, and she was basically kind of trying to scare me out of not getting it. Do you really need this done? Do you know the risks of getting this done? Like, but not just like reading through a form. I got so upset I wouldn't sign it. A poor nurse came in, it was her first day, and she consoled me and reassured me and sat with me, and I think was just shocked at the whole situation. I was like, I'm so sorry, this is your first day, like, you know, and it was like, they were like, you've had surgery before, like, you're just wasting our time. Wow. And I was like, I'm here, this might
is like the last resort.
Yeah, this might just be a patient of the day for you. I've waited months for this. Yeah. Maybe nearly a year for this, for a second surgery.
Nobody wants to go in for multiple
and take procedures. Time off work and be in pain, because the recovery after a laparoscopy surgery is not all fun with the gas stuff that they do and that. Yeah. So exactly. Yeah.
So what kind of things have you on your journey with this pain? And so first of all, what other symptoms do you get? Because you're obviously still living with this.
So I'm in the middle of like a chronic pain situation anyway with my work. So like with hairdressing, like just now I'm sore, like sitting here, my neck, that's where I keep moving. So I'm kind of working through like neck, back, upper back pain, if you like, and then obviously endometriosis. So sometimes it's like what's causing what, like what's going on. I feel like you'll know this, my life is pain, always. I couldn't tell you the last time I had a day that I didn't feel in pain. For me, a bad day, I very rarely would describe a 10 out of 10. For me, a 10 out of 10's, you know when someone says they're in agony but they're still sitting at work, I'm like, I would never describe myself as in agony unless when I have an endometriosis flare up and I'm on the floor having a seizure, that's 10 out of 10. That's when I'd go to hospital. I think the average person would go to hospital on like a 6, 7 out of 10 day. I live in a 6, 7, 10 day all the time. For me, a low day is like 3, 4, where I'm a bit achy, but I'm, you know, I feel fine. I'm what I would say. I'm functioning. Yeah. But like just now, like I'm probably like at like a 4 or 5 now, like
Right.
quite achy, and I know as the day goes on I'm probably going to get more. So ice is my best friend, believe it or not. A lot of folks like, oh, I used to use so much heat and I didn't realise that you're actually adding inflammation. So endometriosis is slightly different. Sometimes you do need heat, but I think sometimes if it's muscular or skeletal or whatever, more on like the back pain side, adding heat, your muscles are already sore and worked up and inflamed. Adding heat on top of that actually was making it worse. So ice, I love cold water dips, like the pods. Actual ice packs. I go to bed every night with, you know, the migraine caps.
Oh yeah, I've never tried them. Are they good?
Top tier, get one, Amazon.
Right.
I put my little ice pack, well, like my cap, with 2 different ice packs inside it under my pillow, which keeps it cold. So through the night I wake up, I can just shove it on.
Right.
So I don't need to go down, because I was going downstairs for the night, like having to.
Right.
So I go up with my hot water bottle. So those are the 2 main like easy things.
Yeah.
CBD, controversial, but CBD's massively
100%.
So whether it be in trip drinks or actual drops or whatever source of CBD that I like, magnesium, because obviously that's good for you. I hate mushrooms, like everyone knows this, it's like a fear.
Yeah.
I'm kind of getting over it because they like the ashwagandha and lion's mane benefits.
Yeah, but you can get them all in tablet form.
Yeah, so I take things like, and obviously the cacao powder now, so like you've got me into that. And also is it Space Goods? It replaces. You never tried that?
No.
It's kind of like a coffee replacement. It's a natural caffeine,
Oh,
but it's
is
got
it
all.
good?
A couple of my friends are like, tastes like. Ugh. But no, I made it with oat milk, like on the stove, like you did.
Yeah.
And then put it in with the orange, and it's so good.
Nice.
It's getting me off. I have 1 coffee a day now.
Good.
So things like that, because they're all. A lot of folk don't know like that cacao and stuff's anti-inflammatory.
Yeah.
So anything anti-inflammatory basically.
Yeah.
They're the main things. Journaling to help, because I think looking after your mental health helps. Obviously, because I mean you've got your mental health, your spiritual well-being, your physical, your emotional. There's like 4 big aspects to your well-being. So I think it's trying to like look after all of them. So what about you? What's your main?
Yeah, well, really, when I was in the thick of it, paracetamol, ibuprofen was my best friend.
Ibuprofen's definitely, that's another one I take quite a lot actually.
Cocodamol, I was on a really high dosage of cocodamol for years and years and years, till the fact I think I was actually addicted to it. And it was when my mum died. I was using it for pain, but I was also using it to make me go to sleep, because I could another thing with the endo pain, I couldn't sleep. And sleep was a major thing for me. I was maybe averaging like 3-4 hours a night, so my body was constantly in fight or flight all the time. And I realised I was addicted to these cocodamol, and I weaned myself off them. So that was my journey with that. Then I got I went on CBD. I even tried the other stuff.
Yeah, I didn't want to say that.
Yeah.
Anyone who knows, but you have tried alternative things.
That was good, but not it. It gave me migraines, and it wasn't sustainable.
It's sluggish in the morning and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So tried that.
Have you been given like amitriptyline and things like that?
Oh yeah,
I've had all that.
I've had every drug under the sun.
All they're doing is things like
masking it, really.
Yeah, it's knocking you out. Oh, I had a great sleep. No, you never. You were knocked out.
Painkillers are maskers.
Yeah.
And I know that now. But when you're in the thick pain, you would take absolutely anything.
Now I only take paracetamol, ibuprofen.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I just need them. Like it just helps a little bit. But a lot of the ice gel rubs, I think, are really good ways that are non-invasive.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's.
I think I took so many ibuprofen.
It's your stomach. You need to watch that.
I can now not take that. Yeah. My stomach is completely done with that. I cannot touch that at all. And then really, as I progressed with my spiritual growth, as we spoke about before, that has been my saving grace. Getting to the core issues of why I have endometriosis, and looking at all the underlying emotional attachments that come with a disease, and working through the layers of that, I can quite honestly say that has been my biggest healing growth. And now I lead people.
It's funny. I feel like where I am now is where you were.
100%.
It's really interesting. Like, it's almost like probably like watching yourself. Like, oh, please just try this. Come on. It's interesting. Like how far you can go with it as well. But
and to be honest, you know, obviously I'm a firm believer that hand in hand, you know, like I'm not. I mean, the pharmaceutical conversation might be another episode, but they are the if you can hear any drilling, we've got a workman outside. Hopefully you don't hear it, but the pharmaceutical controversial kind of subject is like absolutely screwed. Like they are screwing humanity.
What was that? Was the oxytocin? Like they just gave people anything.
Yeah. But I still believe we could work hand in hand.
Yeah, there's certain things.
But for me, that just screwed my body, all the drugs. And the saving grace for me is working on me, because we heal from the inside out, not the outside in. And that's where 90% of people are in the world, you know, and that might piss a few folk off. You know, like, and I've been there.
Yeah, everyone's entitled to their opinions and to think what they want.
Because I'm on the other side of it now, it's like, I know, like, when we take things, we're fixing ourselves from the outside in. It's like, it's a temporary fix. But to really heal, we need to heal from the inside
I said
out,
that, like,
for long-term benefits. That's how we heal.
But like spirituality, I said, if I didn't have all my beliefs and all the things that I do, I don't know where I would be with the pain and stuff like that. I always kind of imagine things like this, and like, you know, one thing might drop like mentally or like physically. When your physical and mental well-being's down here, if your spirituality's up here, it just helps keep everything on a bit more an even keel, for sure. So.
And having a practice, you know, like we spoke about that as well. It's like, you know, like every illness has got an emotion attached to it, and it's finding and digging into these emotions, you know. So things like you mentioned, journaling, you know, if you can get a daily practice of some sort to train your body and your brain to release things, because
everyone's got time. Do you know what I mean? Like people always
100%. If you want to heal, you have to find time. If you can
sit and scroll on your phone, because we all do it. We all doom scroll. If you can do that for 10 minutes a day, you can journal for 5 minutes a day.
Definitely.
Do you know what I mean? We
have to teach the body, you know, your body holds the emotion of your illness. It holds, it's a big storyteller, your body, you know, it tells a story. And we've been brought up in a world where we've been told, come on, you're okay,
I know.
Come on, blah blah blah, here's a sweetie that'll make you feel better, you know. Like we've all done that with our kids, you know. But we've got to allow our emotions to speak. We've got, you know, we've been suppressed a lot of the time.
Oh God, yeah.
So these suppressed emotions then appear
elsewhere
as an illness, as a pain, and it's a big journey. And I still go through pain with my back and my body, but it's nothing like what it is. You know, I now speak to my body.
It's what we were talking about earlier, being a bit kinder to yourself as well. Can I just pause for 2 minutes?
Yeah. So we just had to pause there for a minute, talking about pain. Poor Rachel had to get up and...
I know, I can't sit for long at all, like 20-30 minutes an hour. It's my neck and my back. So I've just put some ice gel on and we continue.
Yeah. Okay. So that's just real life, guys. Yeah. You know,
I know.
Things you have to do.
It's just my bag's like a pharmacy.
Yeah.
It's great, it smells nice though. Just all the stuff you need, it's crazy, but I'd rather have it all. Everyone jokes, oh, you take everything, but if
Mary
they're ill,
Poppins.
If anyone's ill, anyone's got any ailments, my handbag's the place to go. So yes. Right, where were we?
So how do you feel your pain has impacted on, one, your work, two, your life and maybe relationships, friendships? How's that impacted on you?
So obviously I went self-employed. It was just to have the freedom to do what I needed to do. So I can work the hours that I want, the days that I want. And then I just think, when, like, you'll know yourself, when you're ill, I always think some people just take days off. If I'm off work, I'm ill.
Yeah.
And I just think when you're self-employed, you've just got yourself to worry about. There's nothing scarier than like phoning your boss when you're not well, and I just think you've got no one else to think about apart from you and your clients. So work-wise, the pain's impacted it massively, but being self-employed has just took a lot. There's more stress being self-employed, I think.
It's yin and
pros
yang.
And cons.
Yeah, pros and
you
cons.
Can't have it
yeah.
all. Like, there's
yeah.
no. I'm not moaning about it. It's just, I think it's just me.
Yeah.
I'm not managing anyone. I'm not kind of under anyone. It's just my own stuff. So work-wise, I'd say I manage it better now. I'm really open with my clients. Like, a lot of folk might think it's too much or unprofessional, but my clients, I'd say, honestly, most of them are like more than a client to me.
Yeah.
I'm very spoiled and very lucky with the clientele that I've got. Extremely understanding. I've had one client specifically, I think, if I had to stop during their service, rearranged twice in a row, she's like, I believe that you're in pain. I know that if we need to change appointments. I've also been good with her stuff. So definitely work-wise, but when I wasn't self-employed, like, I was taking time off. Probably even like mood-wise, like, I even know now if I'm having a pain day, like, I will probably be snappy or quiet. People around you think they've done something wrong when they've not. I'm just in so much pain that you want to scream.
Yeah.
You're like, I cannot. Like, my poor mum gets a lot of it, to be honest. She's great though. She knows my mum's a total chatterbox and quite a bubbly person, and sometimes I feel bad because I'm like, just want to be like, shut up.
Yeah.
She's doing nothing wrong.
Yeah.
I'm the one that's, and she's great. I'm very lucky that I'm so close to my mum. So relationship-wise, I've been single for 6 years. This is a whole nother topic. But like, celibacy is something that I'm happy to chat about down the line. There's abstinence and celibacy, they're different things. And for me, I'm celibate for loads of reasons, actually. But again, get on to that. So yeah, I've been single for 6 years. Not having a relationship to deal with has massively helped me as well. I'm not saying that I'll be single forever, probably won't. I'm open to meeting.
I hope not.
Yeah, no, hopefully not. I know I've got a lot to give someone and whatever, but right now it would not benefit me. Like, if someone came into my life, I wouldn't shut them off. But those last 6 years have been really messy for me in terms of mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. Great, totally different thing. But I just think the last thing I needed in that moment was a relationship. Unless you had someone, you know, that went through all with you, but trying to start something new. I'd need someone very patient and very understanding to sort of deal with.
Because really, you know, you're talking about relationship.
It's a lot of private stuff as well.
Absolutely, because it's not just a pain factor. It's,
no, like,
it's all the byproducts
the
of
stuff
it.
in that. Like, it's even now with friends, I'm pretty like, right, I need to go to the bathroom or whatever. It's a bit of a joke. But trying to start something new with someone when you don't feel secure in your body, like confident.
The intimacy.
So I definitely have shut that off. For me, it works at this moment. I just, like I say, you can't never say never. You can't close people off, but it's not at the forefront of my mind, and I don't feel like I'm missing anything. I feel quite content in my own. You know, I'm not like, oh, I need a partner, or I'm just not there. And a lot of folk think that's weird. I don't want kids either. I've not got the desire to have children, again, another topic. So for me, relationship wise, I don't really have much to worry about for now. I don't even really get that lonely, I've got to say. So friendship wise, I've got great friends. You know, again, I can be a bit short tempered, everyone knows that. But great friends, great work colleagues. So I'm surrounded by the most incredible people.
Supportive people.
I'm very lucky. If I didn't have that, I don't know. So what about you? What's your...
So you're married, well, I've been married 30 years this year. And, you know, like, we've always had a good sexual relationship, you know, because we're talking about intimate things. But it had a massive impact,
Yeah.
just pain wise, because
That's
that's
another
thing people don't talk about. You know, having sex when you're in a flare up is an absolute no.
Yeah.
And I'm so blessed to have such an amazing husband.
Yeah, understand.
But that is a massive factor. You know, you cannot have, it's the last thing on your mind.
Yeah, I think that's another reason being single. I can't imagine having to deal with that crap either.
It's torture.
Yeah.
It's absolute torture, you know, so I understand where you're coming from with that. But being married, you know, like Eddie was amazing. You know, he would never want to pressure or
Eddie
whatever.
is a good guy though. Like anyone
amazing.
that knows Eddie knows he's just a good all-rounder.
Yeah.
Friend, husband, dad, like whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Definitely. And then socially, oh God, the amount of times I've been out and had to come home.
Have you ever had any issues with, like, I don't have any now, but like in the past, friends, when you're out, like being a bit, why are you going home? You've been bored.
Yeah, well, I mean, one of them was a New Year's Eve thing.
It's like you're ruining their day.
Yeah, well, they never said anything. But, you know, we were really looking forward to it. We got new outfits. It was a big posh dinner, and then, you know, like entertainment and stuff. And we were all looking forward to it. And I stupidly, this is where self-care comes in, but back then I had worked all day. It was a Saturday.
Yeah, can't
so I'd spent all day at work, and I remember being upstairs looking at myself in the mirror, trying to put my makeup on, crying, thinking I'm going to spoil everybody's night. I managed to get there.
Yeah.
I sat at the table for an hour, knowing if I moved I might faint or whatever. And then I had one drink, I got up to the toilet.
I remember you telling me about that.
I collapsed, and I didn't even know this, but my cousin was at the same event, and she was the one that found me on the floor. And we had to come home before the bells. You know, and leaving our friends there, you know, and did they understand? I don't know, you know, but, you know.
Have you heard of the spoon theory? No. So this is a really good way, I think, for explaining to people that don't have chronic illness, whether it's endometriosis, back pain, Crohn's, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So the spoon theory, the average healthy person doesn't really have an unlimited amount of spoons anyway. They can just go to work, go to an event, do all the stuff. Someone who's chronically ill starts their day with like half. So say the average, I don't know the numbers, has 10 spoons. A chronically ill person has half. So you'd have 5 spoons. So like one could be work, one could be showering, one could be whatever. Your spoons run out.
Ah, right, okay.
So for me, I can't work and then do a social event after unless I've got a gap. Someone who keeps well can. So basically the spoon theory, there's loads of it online explaining it better. It's basically just showing physically like
how energy runs out.
Almost like you could. Me and my friends talk about what level of battery you're on. And I'm like 50% the day. What are you 20? Let's not go out the day. So that's just kind of what you were saying there. You couldn't socially keep up with.
But it just shows like the pressure we all put ourselves under. You know, I think society's a lot better now, acknowledging like pain, you know, like mental health problems and stuff like that. They're more socially accepting of it. But there still is a bit of like, oh, she's only whatever age and she acts like an old lady.
I get that.
You're
boring. I'm like, actually,
boring. That's
boring.
Another thing.
To me, a boring. You know, I used to be. Well, you were the same. Loved prosecco. We would like finish up work, and our work clothes, sit and just prosecco, get a takeaway. Because it was low effort but easy. And then years ago I would go out all the time. But I did struggle with it. But you know, when you're young, you get on with it different. I don't know. So it is interesting when you think it like that as well. So someone who's chronically ill trying to keep up a full-time job can be really difficult.
Definitely.
So,
and I mean, now are you in any of these endometriosis like groups or anything?
No, I've got one there that I kind of I've muted it. I found them quite draining. When you first get a diagnosis, it's, oh my god, this is what's wrong with me. I need a bubble. I soon was like, because then you become, there's nothing wrong with it if it works for that person. I'm not sort of taking away from that. for me it was just a space to moan. And I done it myself. I sometimes wrote like a big story and I just thought I needed to get that. I should have just wrote it in my notes and deleted it, to be honest.
Yeah.
So for me the groups don't work. I'd rather just phone up my friend and say, can we have a coffee? I feel a bit crap today, or like yourself, we'll just chat like this. But some people, the group is good for them.
Yeah. And it's an option, isn't it?
Yeah, it's there. I've made it. Like the girl I follow on Instagram, she's really interested. Some days I can't watch it though because I'm like, I feel so sorry for her. Yeah. But other days it's good to get the information.
Exactly. So these, we'll maybe put a couple of links down, you know, for people. So I think these groups are good for information.
Yes.
And if you are somebody and you're in that space of you need to offload, they're
kind of like-minded people, folk that just understand what you're going through. Really, I think.
But then you have to make a decision of, is this helping me or hindering me? This
might sound quite harsh, but I'm quite blunt. I think self-loathing and woe is me can very much happen when you're in chronic pain. I've had days where I'm like, I hate the world, I hate everyone, this is wrong. But you can, now I'll sit with it and then I get my ass back up the next day and I'm like, right, you've had your time to cry about it, let's do something about it, whether it's journaling, cold water, even just going for a walk.
Yeah,
there's like, that's the best thing you can prescribe anyone, even not even a walk, going outside.
Nature, that's what I would tell all my clients.
Sit next to the sea or go to a forest.
And it's been scientifically proven that, you know,
Asian countries,
forest bathing, they get that, you know, so getting yourself out of your environment and into nature,
20 minutes does
instantly, you know, helps.
That's why I love the Highlands so much. Me and my friend, it's like the minute we hit a specific bit, it's like a weight is lifted, like it's the best thing for you, for sure. So so we hope you've enjoyed. And we could go on and on and on. Maybe we do a part 2. Yes, I think that's everything. Like we said, we're going to pop a couple of links that will be beneficial. If you've got any questions, if we've not covered anything you want to know about, or anything we have covered and you want to, you know,
a bit more info.
Yeah, like we're happy to do that. Any questions you want to send in, we could answer those.
Yeah, absolutely. As we said, we could go on and on.
You could, we could. Sometimes we put an alarm on it, be like, right, guys.
Yeah, and I'm sure in future episodes some of this will come up.
Yeah, very much regarding,
forefront. You know, like our spiritual practices and, you know, things like that.
Yeah.
That have really helped us. That's us really wrapped up for today, Rachel.
I'm going to do a poll for the next topic. There's 3 I think to pick from. We just want to see what you want to hear about next. So I'll pop that as well and you can vote for our next topic.
That would be good. Yeah, so I hope you've enjoyed that and you know, the ramblings of our chats.
Yeah, it's fun though. I think it's just good for you. It's like therapy, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Everyone should do it. Everyone should have a friend they can chat to. So
yeah, exactly.
So yeah, hope you enjoyed and we'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks so much.
Bye.
Bye.